Let's talk about 3 common reasons why you may be feeling exhausted. And if you've tried getting more sleep, taking supplements, and changing your diet, and yet you still don't notice any changes in the energy that you should have, well, this video is for you. My name is Dr. Forrest Sauer, a functional medicine practitioner, where we fix the root cause of the problem instead of just simply masking symptoms. And let's go and start taking a look at why you may always be feeling tired. 3 very common reasons on why you may be feeling tired. 1 you've heard about, 2 you most likely have not heard about, is the first one, thyroid. Everybody's heard of, if you're feeling tired and exhausted, it might be your thyroid, but really there's many different kinds of thyroid imbalances out there. Sure, you have the classical hypothyroidism. You have hyperthyroidism. Now, you typically won't have hyperthyroidism when you're feeling exhausted because this is actually going to increase your energy. Hypo meaning low, this is actually going to decrease your energy. And then you have other different kinds of thyroid diseases. You have Hashimoto's, and this is going to feel very much identical to hypothyroidism. So these 2 are going to feel identical, even though they're very, very different. So you have Hashimoto's, which is low energy, and then you have Graves' disease. That's an A. And this is going to, again, mimic hyperthyroidism, so increase energy, along with other symptoms like hair loss, weight loss, bulging eyes, racing heart, can't get to sleep. So these are going to feel very similar. Now, they're very different. Hypothyroidism is a thyroid problem. Hashimoto's and Graves' disease, these are both autoimmune diseases, but we're not going to get into these 2 for today for just simply brevity's sake. So we're going to go ahead and just table this. There's many different kinds of thyroid problems. Sadly, what is often done in the main medical community is you'll only be giving simple medication like Synthroid, Levothyroxine, Levo for short. There's also Nature-Throid. And lastly, there's Armour Thyroid. I think there's a U in there. So those are the most common thyroid medications. There's a couple of others out there that are not typically used, but these are the most common thyroid medications, and these are the most common thyroid diseases that are specifically affecting your energy levels. If you want help with your health, you can go ahead and click on the link below and book your free 15-minute phone call with us to see if we would be a good fit. So let's go and start talking about anemia. You see, what anemia is there's a couple different kinds of anemia. Anemia will directly impact your energy levels. You can have iron deficiency anemia. That is the most common kind of anemia. There's also something called pernicious anemia, or low vitamin B12. The impact it's going to have on your energy levels is really going to be a secondary impact, meaning the anemia is not going to directly impact your energy. However, what anemia is going to do is it's going to starve your body for oxygen, so that we're going to be low in oxygen and thus low in energy. So you have 2 different kinds. You have iron deficiency anemia, and then you have pernicious anemia. And these are 2 different kinds of anemia. This one is obviously low in iron. And even if your lab results come back, you might be surprised at how many clients that we see who come into the clinic actually walk in. They have iron deficiency anemia, like a sub-low. It's not clinically low, but it's early stages of iron deficiency anemia, and they're struggling with exhaustion. Oftentimes, they'll be chasing a thyroid problem, thinking that they need more iodine, or they need some more SAM-E, or maybe they need to go ahead and start taking some T4 or T3 hormone, or maybe try to take the natural route. But really, they're chasing the wrong thing because it's actually anemia that's causing the problem to begin with. Now, the pernicious anemia, this is not low in iron. This is when you're actually low in a vitamin called B12. And it's not necessarily the fact that you're actually low in vitamin B12. It's the fact that actually you can't absorb. There's no absorption of B12 that's actually happening. You see, what you have is you have your stomach right here, and you have little cells right here. These are cells in your stomach called parietal cells. And what they do, parietal cells, and their job is to absorb vitamin B12. And simply what's happening here in pernicious anemia is this is not happening, and therefore no B12, even though you're eating it in your stomach, it's not getting into your bloodstream, meaning that your body's going to be low in oxygen because you need both vitamin B12 and iron to bind onto Oxygen, O2. You need oxygen, obviously, to stay alive. This is kind of important. You kind of need oxygen in order to live. And if you don't have enough iron or vitamin B12, you're not going to have the oxygen, and therefore you're going to be exhausted. Now, be very careful. If you're going to start supplementing with iron because you know or you find out that you're subclinical low in iron, be very careful on the kind of iron that you do choose to eat or take. If it's causing constipation or black stools, that's actually a low quality iron. Usually you'll find that iron in grocery stores. I don't recommend that because it will cause the constipation, black stools, because it's just simply low quality and it's not doing its job. Iron should not cause constipation, black stools. You should actually absorb it and use it. So the last one is inflammation. Now you might be asking yourself, now Dr. Sauer, how in the world does inflammation cause exhaustion? Great question. Here's the answer. What happens with inflammation is you can think of it like sand in the cogs of a wheel. It's going to slow down how your body should actually function. When you have inflammation, like a lot of inflammation, if you have brain fog, if you have bloating in your stomach from poor digestion, or if you have swelling in your ankles at the end of a long day, or you see a sock line around your ankles, that is a classical sign of inflammation. And what inflammation will do is it will actually live in your bloodstream. So if you have your blood right here and you have a bunch of different cells and they're all doing different things, they're hanging out, they're having a great time. But you know what? Because of the inflammation, let me pick a different color. Because of the inflammation, and let's pick red. Nope, let's pick something that sticks out. Blue. Inflammation is going to come in and it's just going to take up space. And it's actually going to prevent these cells from communicating from one another. It's also going to create damage to your methylation cycle. So if you have problems with weight loss, you're always exhausted, you're chronically in pain, you're very sensitive to pain, you have hormonal imbalances, believe it or not, inflammation can impact every single one of those because it's going to slow or stop how your body is actually functioning. So those are the most common reasons why people are actually struggling with exhaustion and feeling tired all the time. And it doesn't matter. Like, you can go ahead and start eating. You can drink a lot of Monsters. You can do Coke, the liquid kind, not the powder kind. You can do Monster drinks. You can coffee. Any other kind of energy drinks, because there's a million of them out there. You can do all of those, and all that's doing is simply adding in more caffeine and, let's be real, lots of toxins. So this is a plus symbol, plus toxins. So you're going to be adding in Monsters, Coke, coffee, energy drinks. That's adding in a lot of caffeine, a lot of toxins into your body. So that's going to actually increase inflammation, making the problem worse, meaning that you're going to start craving more of these because your energy continues to go down. And it's what's called a positive feedback loop, where you're trying to self-medicate the problem, but the medicine that you're using is actually make the problem worse. Therefore, you're going to rely more and more on the medication. And guess what? When you start increasing the medication, lots of things can happen. You can have an increase in your cholesterol. You can see an increase in your blood pressure. You can go ahead and see a complete imbalance. That's an imbalance going every which direction in your hormones. And the list goes on and on and on because of the inflammation, because of the anemia. And here's one more thing about anemia, is that if you do have anemia, that is priority number one. Let me make this very, very clear. At least this is what we do in our clinic. You go ahead and do whatever you want. If you have anemia, you need to start dealing with the anemia first, because if you are low in oxygen, what else do you think the body cares about? Nothing. It cares about nothing else. If you're starving your body for oxygen, it literally only wants to get oxygen into the cells. And so if you are low in iron or B12, that is the first thing, like I said, problem number one that you want to start fixing and addressing before you start worrying about your thyroid or your inflammation. So I hope this video helps you start categorizing what you need to start focusing on first, what's going on with your body, and 3 common reasons why you might be feeling exhausted despite your best efforts at feeling better and gaining back the energy that, quite frankly, you should have. My name is Dr. Forrest Sauer. If you like this video, hit the like and subscribe button below. I'll chat with you soon.